pesky Bears. They just won't go away. If you reported after hours, the Bears were a little bit harder on you. Maybe if reported this morning, not so much. We rallied back. We're way off the lows, but folks, we got some volatility here. We got some earnings to cover. We got the cow guy coming on at 8:05, ADP at 8:15. It's pre-market prep on a Wednesday.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Okay, good morning, traders and investors. Here we are. We're down 7.5 handles at 67.94, but way off that overnight low. The buck flat right at par here. TLT flat ahead of the ADP data at 8:15. USO flat 71.88. Not giving back that whole rally from last week. GLD catches a bid up 420 at 366.52. SLV up 51 cents at 43.25. And Bitcoin futures, they're trading in the green after slipping under 100K. They're up nearly 2K at 103,000. We just had our charts brought to you by TradeStation, and we're going to be learning more about those in the month of November. Let's bring on Triple D here. And have you had any bear sightings in your neighborhood?
There was a lot of bear sightings last night, but I believe some of these bears were chased back to their cave with this rally this morning. But ADP is coming out here and bring the Brentster into this conversation here as well, because we're going to get some critical information for this market here, because we haven't really had, with the government shutdown, we've been missing some jobs data. So ADP is going to give us a glimpse here at what is going on this morning. Normally ADP doesn't matter as much because the jobs is the big one. But when you're not getting the main jobs numbers here, this is the only thing we got. So I think this does have the potential to be market moving, especially with December being up in the air, the December rate cut we're talking about.
Sure. So for ADP for the month of October, we're expecting a reading around 32,000. Keep in mind that ADP gave us an insight into this data point yesterday on Tuesday. They gave us data for the month ending October 11th, and jobs growth was about 14,000 then. So we have a pretty modest expectation for ADP figures. And something else to keep in mind this morning is the CME FedWatch tool is showing that Fed funds bettors have the chance of a December 10th rate cut back over 70%. It was around 60% for the last week or so, back over 70%. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. I'll be breaking in with the ADP data at 8:15 a.m. sharp.
Awesome. Thank you, Brentster. We'll be on. And then just before we go, we got Cow Guy in the background here. So we got a guest early today. Cow Guy likes to come in here nice and early. So we're going to get him on here in just a minute here. Just quickly, obviously give us an S&P check, Joel. We've rebounded from those lows overnight. So bulls buy the dip crowd still coming in here. Lots of earnings to digest, which we can do some of that with Cow Guy. And obviously we're getting to some of the meat and potatoes after Cow Guy as well. Over almost 1,000 companies reporting this week. Not as many big names as last week, like the Mag 7 has passed us, but you have AMD reported last night and SMCI. A lot of reports last night, stocks were trading down. A lot of reports from this morning, the stocks are trading higher. So that's interesting here too.
Yeah, I'll just paint the S&Ps with the broad stroke here, and we're still comfortably above the 50-day moving average, right? That if you want to say, hey, the bears are still in their cave, you can say, hey, you can kidding me? It's down to the 50-day. We got down there a few times in October, but rebounded nicely. So let's see if that scenario holds. The 50 days, 85 handles away. So, and it was great support earlier in the month. So you can say what you want about the price action the last couple of days, but hey, we're still not that far from the all-time high.
We are moving up into this ADP number here as well, so which is interesting too. So we're just seeing IWM and some of those retail sensitive names, obviously. And if you're looking, I know it gets screwed up with the FINRA prints, but S&P's got back almost all of its overnight losses here.
Yes.
We're trading down only 40 cents right now in SPY, actually only 20 cents here now. So we moved up substantially. Cal Guy's just going to be here in a minute here, so we were just going to go to him, and then he's just stopped off for a second here. What do you do? Like, I mean, what do you do at this point in time, Joel? It's a tricky market because we've had, and we've been talking about this, and we're going to bring Cal Guy into this conversation, but we've had a significant sell-off in a lot of momentum names, even crypto, Bitcoin going under 100,000, which you called, Joel, saying that they probably want to take it under 100,000, hit some stops, and then maybe rally it. That's what's occurred here this morning so far. But I mean, it's kind of mixed signals because the S&Ps are still sitting up here 1.5%, maybe 2% from all-time highs. The Qs not far as well. If we go to the highs, 637, 618, you're talking about, 3% at best, off from all-time highs. It doesn't feel like that, though. It feels like it's more severe. Like, again, when you look at stocks like MP Materials, when you look at stocks like Oklo, when you look at, even stocks like moving yesterday, like Palantir had a pretty ugly day and it's not having a great morning here. It just doesn't feel like we're sitting up here near all-time highs. It feels a lot worse than that, especially with some of these momentum names. So what do you do when you have these mixed signals?
I just feel it's a little bit more of a sell the rip than buy the dip market. Like I mean, you can lean on, your previous day's lows, but I think you just have to, look both ways. And the way the market is now, keep an eye on the previous day's lows. And when you get these lower opens, when you get back to unchanged, or fortunately, if you have a stock get back to the prior day's high, I think it's thickening up on the upside. Don't have can lean on today's low, but we're already 50 handles away from it. So just feels like the offers are out there on the upside, a little bit thicker, and downside trying to build a base.
Let's bring Cal Guy into this conversation. I want to ask him the same question. So we're going to go to our guest right now.
There he is, Scott Shellady, the cow guy, joining us on pre-market prep. Scott, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Is that a little different cow guy coat you got on today?
This is my traveling around vest. Yeah. So I had a friend of mine in London. I lived there for 16 years, and he does a lot of media. And he said he'd never be friend. He's one of my best friends. He'd never be talk to me ever again if I left the house without wearing something black and white, because it helps jogs people's memory. They may see you and recognize you and not know how, but if I have something black and white or cow related on, it'll automatically click. And he's been right. I've done it for the last 10 years, and it absolutely works.
So just starting, we just had this question I posed, Joel. I'm going to pose the same question to you. It's been a market of really mixed signals here in the last couple of weeks. The S&Ps, Qs, sitting up relatively near all-time highs. Mag 7's held at the market. But the momentum names have really been hit. There are a lot of momentum names that are down 20, 30, 40% from the highs in the last couple of weeks. We were saying, MP Materials, the Oklos, the nuclear names, the quantum names. They've all kind of went into their own little mini bear markets here. How do you approach this market, with mixed signals? You have stocks like Apple that are just resilient and sitting right up near all-time highs. Is it like the market's playing a little bit of defense and going to the safety the last couple of weeks? Or, what are your thoughts here on this market as we go into usually a seasonally strong period?
I think it will end up being strong. I think we've talked ourselves into it right now. It's been the most hated rally since April the 8th that I've ever seen probably in my lifetime. And I know that there's a lot of fund managers that are still behind the 8 ball. They're going to have to play catch up. We've had a little bit of a hiccup as of late, like you said, but I think that this is going to present more opportunity. Now, there are valuations that are crazy. I get that, but a lot of times valuations can, crazy valuations can outlast your mentality. So I'm not saying that the market highs are in, but I will say this. I helped start a technology company. We floated in London 25 years ago, right at the turn of the century, right in the middle of the dot-com boom. So I can't code myself, but I absolutely can appreciate the power of technology. And I was really excited back then. You can't imagine how excited I am for artificial intelligence now. I think it's going to be so transformative that we can't even get our minds wrapped around it. And I think that might change how the markets trade a little bit, because we're going to have, I absolutely think we're going to have a jobless recovery. We're going to have an unemployment rate probably go through 5%, but we're going to be much more efficient, and we're going to have a great economy because of what we've got happening with artificial intelligence. And a lot of these people don't know how to handle that. And I'm not saying I know how to handle it either. So I can understand these growing pains. But I still think it's going to be an opportunity. And, it's almost like we want to hurt ourselves because of all the damage we saw that happened over the dot-com boom or 2008, 2009. And so I think that a lot of this is just self-inflicted. And that's fine, because then you're going to be able to pick up stuff that I've been looking at trying to pick up for a while that I made mistakes on myself. So I'm not really negative the market, and I'm not normally that way. Usually I am a little bit more defensive. Usually I am looking out for my customers, and usually I just want to try to see around the corner to see if there's anything there to hurt me. But I have a few trusted advisors that I really rely on a lot. And, the middle class, as much as you might think that it's being hollowed out, and a lot of times I think it is, but they've got more money than they've ever had before. We do probably see a little bit of a K-shaped recovery. And that's just because of the bad government policies we've had over the last 5 years, which have allowed some inflation really to separate the really wealthy from the average folk. But I do think that that some of those high flyers definitely needed to come back a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a sign for the rest of the market to fall out of bed. And I just say that because we don't know what we don't know. I've seen something like this before where I think, my father traded for a long time, and he said sometimes it's great to have no memory. I think this is one of those times. I really do, because your memory could actually be a hindrance to you now. Because I also wrestled to a fairly high level, and my wrestling coach wrestled in the Pan Am Games. He was fantastic. He was an unbelievable wrestler, and he would say to me every now and again, "You're going to score points on me because I'm wrestling at such a higher level." And you can do this about race car driving as well. I'm at such a high level that you're not. When I make a move, you're not doing what you're supposed to. My anticipation, because you're not that good, is not going to work, and you'll be able to score me. So I think sometimes we're doing that right now when it comes to the market, right? Or if you try to get out there and go around the track with NASCAR guys, they're going to make a move on you, expect you to do something normally, and you won't because you're just not that good. We're not doing that normal thing right now. I think I'm seeing people just react differently, and I don't think that that's indicative of the overall market or where we're going. I think it's going to be okay, but nothing goes straight up. I know it's a long answer to your question.
Yeah.
But I do see a lot of those things. And like I said, I've been doing this for 39 years. I think it's going to be okay. I guess you got to be careful. Nothing's easy, but I'm so very excited about artificial intelligence that what did we just get done talking about? Tesla and maybe a flying car, folks.
Hey, before we go to that, you're going to be on with us for a number, ADP number coming out at 8:15.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we're going to have the Brentster break in here in just a minute and give us that information. But you had mentioned, jobs and jobs loss and unemployment, right? And going, I mean, it's kind of startling to see the amount of layoffs are going on. But I guess it's just something that we're just going to have to live with more efficiency. I mean, just don't know the jobs that people are losing, or they're going to be that easy to find new ones.
They're not. I mean, that's the problem. And I think a lot of American CEOs aren't really telling us what they're thinking. I think they're keeping their cards very close to their chest. I heard one big CEO say the other day he's going to keep the same headcount the next 3 years. I mean, I'm sure he's a very bright man, but I thought that was a very ignorant thing to say. I absolutely see artificial intelligence. It's already taking jobs away from, we just had Amazon say the quiet part out loud. They shed 14,000 people because of artificial intelligence. They've also shed a total of 30. We've got UPS with 48,000 people. I'm wondering how many of those are going to be artificial intelligence-led job losses. So if you're, we're going to get more efficient with less people. That's what artificial intelligence does. I mean, if you ask me, I'd like artificial intelligence to take over the Fed. I think it would do a much better job. So here we sit with these folks. They're probably going to get laid. I mean, look, and I'm not trying to be discompassionate or not compassionate, because I had the same thing happen to me, right? I was obfuscated out of a job. I used to wear a funny colored jacket and scream and yell all day in the middle of the trading pits in Chicago and London. I had to find another thing to do myself, which is what I'm doing now. So I'm not coming from some Pollyannish point of view. It happens. And so, yeah, you're going to have to somehow either embrace technology and reinvent yourself, or you're going to be by the wayside because, you've heard these people come out and go, we're going to be so efficient. We're going to have a 3-day work week. That's not efficient. That's just doing the same amount of work in 3 days. We're going to have a 5-day work week, and we're going to get 1.5 times much it's done in the same period. So anybody that thinks that they're going to shorten their work week because of artificial intelligence is smoking something that's illegal. So like I said, it all comes back to artificial intelligence. It comes back to what we can do to leverage it. And I had Ray Wong on my show the other week. He's so exciting to listen to. He's not afraid. He was on the day that Meta got hurt hard after they reported, and he's all in, saying that these people are doing the right thing, and we've got some things that are coming around the corner that are just going to blow people's minds. So I'm excited. It's going to be kind of a double-edged sword, but you kind of have to kind of see if you can see the forest through the trees, because sometimes I know it's going to get very difficult.
We do have a better than expected jobs data reading. ADP showing October jobs up 42,000 versus a 32,000 economist estimate. Market is pretty quiet here, kind of like a little higher, but kind of unaffected here.
Yeah, really didn't move on this jobs number at all. Let's go into this conversation though with Scott here, because we do have a Fed decision coming in December here, and we're wondering if we are going to actually see a Fed rate cut here coming for December or not. What are your thoughts? Like, what's your spidey senses saying here, or your cow senses saying on the potential for the rate cut? Because it's up in the air at this point in time.
Yeah, my bovine bullpucky. Yeah, I think because of the shutdown, we're going to see weakening economic indicators, and I think that's all but assured is another rate cut. Now, I'm not saying we need to cut rates. I think you could argue that we didn't need to cut them the first time around. I mean, I don't know about you, but again, I've been doing it a long time. I don't remember really cutting rates at all-time record highs and inflation at the highest we've had in a year and a half. It doesn't make sense, really. If you read it, put it down on paper, any first-year finance person would have failed that test. Well, here we are. We're cutting rates with stocks at all-time record highs. So I would have left them alone the first time. I'd still probably do it again. But now that I have to think about how the Fed is thinking, I think they're going to be, they've got two worries on their hands. They've got jobs and they've got inflation. And I'll tell you right now, they're going to go for jobs. If people start losing their jobs and that really starts to gain momentum, that's a much harder ship to turn around than inflation, I think. And so they're going to fight the jobs problem first and let the inflation situation run. And they've told you that tacitly by cutting rates when the CPI is pushing 3% or is at 3%. Now, I think that you can see that go to 3.5%. I think that they're going to let it run for a number of reasons. Number one, the government's going to want lower rates to borrow. Number two is that we've got debt and deficit problems here, folks, that are historic. We went through $37 trillion as far as national debt in August, and then we went through $38 trillion in the last week of October. I mean, that's startling. We burnt through $1 trillion in debt in I don't know, not even 2 months. So
crazy.
We're going to have to inflate our way out. So that's why I think they're going to fight jobs, and that's why they're going to cut rates. They're going to let inflation run. But the problem is, at some point in time, watch that 10-year. The 10-year is going to start to spank them when they start really getting out of line. And when that 10-year starts to move, and it probably could go. I think we could see a 5% 10-year and a 3.5% inflation rate, and I still think we'll be fine. But the world's going to throw the baby out with the bathwater on that.
All right, one more for you. And we don't talk politics a lot on this show, but definitely, yeah, yeah, changing political landscape here with elections yesterday. Any implications?
No, nothing earth moving. I don't think there was any surprises, by the way. So, the market likes no surprise. So I don't think there's nothing earth moving. But I do think it's sometimes, I feel as though because of this bifurcation, this K-shaped recovery, the upper it's 15, 20% doing well, the bottom 70, 80, 85% struggling. Those that don't have a 401k are a big one. Those that don't own their property, they rent. They've missed out on the last 5 years, and all they've had to do is pay higher, prices at the grocery store. So we've got a whole group of people. 80% of the country is allowed to be, they're allowed to feel disenfranchised, and that's a problem. And all we're doing now is turning a generation of people into people that need something for free. They want to get something back from the man. They're angry. They've been hurt and they've been left behind. And it's a whole generation of people now that I think that, I'll blame the universities as well that have turned them off of, a democracy or a free republic and turned them into, when universal basic income is actually a thing. I think that's very, very dangerous. So they're selling their hopes and their dreams for free buses, free childcare, and frozen rents. And I think that's too cheap, if you ask me. But that's what they're saying. So now it really goes down to equity. When you hear the word affordability, guys, they're really talking equity because they want the many to vote and tell the few who have the money that they want their money so that they can continue to live above their means in places they can't afford. That's equity. And so I don't know who surprised these people. That's, with New York, Chicago, and San Francisco being expensive to live in the city center. But when you can't afford it and you're living above your means, you have to change, make a move, do something else. But everybody feels entitled. So I think that we've got this thing of, they deserve it. They feel like it's theirs and they don't want to do anything for it. And I think that's dangerous. And I think that this SDA, the Social Democrats of America, or Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, whatever you want to call them, they're going to gain steam. And it's going to be a bigger deal than you think. It really is. That's the problem. And they're already gaining steam. So we have to keep an eye on it. But it's going to take over the Democratic Party, I think, because there's a lot of folks out there that feel like they've been left behind, and the universities are piling on that idea. And some of these politicians are throwing bones at these people, exactly what they want to hear, whether they can do it or not. But it's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
All right. He is known as Scott Shellady, but to us, he's the cow guy. Joining us on Pre-Market Prep.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Scott. We'll dial
All
you
right,
up
see you.
again before the end of the year.
Thanks,
All right.
Scott.
See you guys. Have a good one.
Crickets.
Yeah,
man.
really was. Like we were expecting a pretty good move because we haven't got jobs data for so long, but this number was close enough that it wasn't really blowing, away anything. It was kind of, when you're talking 42,000 versus 22,000, I mean, you're talking about 20,000 jobs. So you're not talking 200,000 jobs. You're not talking like, like numbers that were like, whoa, we didn't see this coming. So it's not an inline number, but it ain't that far from it. So we can say it's a little bit better, but does this change? Does this do anything to change Fed sentiment probably into December? Probably not. Probably doesn't move the needle. Are we going to get any more jobs data is the question before December. Get the next ADP report probably for the cut. But I mean, are we going to get the jobs data? Is because is the government shutdown going to go away by then? What's our prediction markets?
There you go, Triple D.
Yeah.
So yesterday we had unplanned here, folks. That was just a great segue by Triple D. So yesterday we had updates on, I think, PreMarket. Somebody in the PreMarket in the STN chat was sharing updated from PreMarket. The chance for a reopen by November 15th went up pretty substantially. It was under 50%. Now it's around 70%. So as of yesterday, more likely that we would have a government reopening by the middle of this month. The odds for government reopening by November 30th were like 90%. So I don't know. Do we trust the prediction markets?
They're
They
pretty darn
usually be
good.
pretty
They've
good.
been pretty good. I
They've
mean,
been
nobody
pretty
knows
darn good.
anything, but I mean, this is now the longest government shutdown. At a certain point in time, this is going to affect GDP. At a certain point in time, this is going to start, showing up in the economic data that we don't get. So I think, maybe that's the issue too, is that as we're not getting economic data, there's not a lot of pressure, from the political side to do something about this because we're not seeing the data here. Like it always takes time to get in there, but eventually when we do reopen, some of this data could actually be impacted by the government shutdown that was.
I don't see how that's avoidable.
Yeah.
And we are just a note here, we are going to get the CME. We're probably already getting updates maybe from like Bloomberg, but we will have the CME FedWatch tool updated in just the next few minutes here. I don't know how much the CME FedWatch tool is going to adjust for a chance of a rate cut in December based on the ADP data, but I will be back in a minute with an update there.
Okay, let's get into the earnings
Sure.
because there was a pile of earnings last night. Me and Brentster covering them all live over on Stock Trader Network. AMD was the big gun. We were waiting on this one. We got SMCI first, and that was a disappointment. And then we had AMD, and AMD's numbers were actually pretty good. If you're still here, Brentster, if you want to kick around here and give us those numbers again for pre-market prep, give us the AMD numbers. We're going to start there.
All right, sure. So AMD reporting adjusted earnings 120, about a 4-cent beat, not a huge beat or anything. Sales 9.25 billion, a pretty nice beat there, 8.7 billion. I don't remember if the company gave guidance. I'm going to click into the press release right now and just double check to see if they did give guidance. They
I
did
think on the
give
call.
they did give guidance. The guidance was solid. It wasn't like blowout or anything. Expecting a midpoint for Q4 sales around 9.6 billion. I think analysts were down around 9.2 billion. So like a solid guidance figure, but again, nothing blowout.
Yeah. The stock wanted to rally last night. It wanted to go up, but it was this night that everything was going down. Like, I mean, we had so many earnings reports that were actually decent and stocks were going down. And AMD was decent. But I mean, there was just a really tough tape. It was a really tough tape to report last night. That's why we talked about AMD ahead of the Brent. And I said, I think it's going down. It's just too tough of a tape. I didn't sell any of my long-term investment, but I was like, if I had it for a trade, I said I'd absolutely sell it before this because it's just reporting into a really tough tape. It's holding up fairly well, though. Like, you consider the run here we've had. There is buy the dip mentality here, Joe. We were down at 237 about an hour and a half ago. We're back up at 243, which would pare the losses by almost half. So, it's holding up well. It did bring down NVIDIA. It did bring down Intel with the two, which is interesting enough because Intel used to go opposite, but last night was not the case. Both those stocks trading slightly lower on the AMD report here. Give me your technical thoughts here. I mean, this has been a hell of a run for AMD.
It has been. It's been a nice run, and we were so far within the expected move. I had an expected move of 18 points. That makes it easy. That takes you down to 232, and we didn't quite get down to 232. In fact, we stopped at 235.51. So this is what it does. It fills this little gap here. I don't know about getting into this gap. So I like that level. If in fact we come down there again, 235.51, 235.90, you're $4 or $5 above that right now. So maybe that pre-market low is something that's going to hold up for the remainder of the day. Coming back on the upside here. Yeah, yesterday's range, the bottom of yesterday's range, that's not out of the question here. 247.39. So there's the technical setup for AMD. Down but not out. And should we take a quick look at NVIDIA or just go to SMCI?
Oh, you can give technicals on NVIDIA. It's never a bad show giving technicals on NVIDIA. A lot of people on this, me as well. I think, obviously not the prettiest day for it yesterday, but when you give context, really, I mean, we're back to where we were 5 days ago.
Might get a shot at yesterday's low here, 197.93. You're trading at what you did get lower than that in the pre-market. I think that'll be a slippery slope. If you don't hold that off the open, there's a ways to go because you had that big run up. And that next daily low came in at 191.91. It's on a 4-day losing streak. So it's a minor number there at yesterday's low. And, I'd perhaps get a look at scratch at this. The mark, that's not very far away, but do not like it under yesterday's low.
I want to do SMCI as well. We're going to be about 15 minutes on earnings here just to cover all the ones. If there's a specific company you want to cover, let us know. We'll try to get to it. At this point in time, obviously, with 200 companies reporting between last night and this morning, or it's going to be tough to cover them all. SMCI reported, though. Brentster, give us those numbers. It was the first to report, and it was a disappointment right away.
Disappointment right away for the quarter. They missed on both the top and bottom line. Earnings 35 cents per share, a miss of 5 cents. Sales just over 5 billion. Analysts were up towards 6 billion. So the sales actually was really concerning. Their 2026 sales guidance looked good, but their quarterly earnings and sales guidance looked not so good. So Q2 adjusted earnings 46 to 54 cents. Analysts all the way up over 60 for SMCI.
And the stock's been hit substantially off the lows, but kind of straight down. I know there was that blip over 50. I'm not sure if that was pre or if that's just a dumb news algo again, pissing away money. I look at the chart. I think lots of support down at 40. I look at it at 43.85, and I feel like it's in the middle of nowhere. But we got our levels master. Let's level up with Joel Elconin.
Option guys for the win.
What's the expected move?
5.24.
And it got down to 43 almost exactly. It's literally
42.
all those lows.
It got to 42.
So it got right there.
Yeah.
So it's just this expected moves. And we're going to have shameless promotion here. CC Legator 130 for everyone here for another free show that we launched, Options Unchained. So if you want to learn more about expected moves or about the expected moves that are coming up, join us for free on this channel, 1:30. Set your clocks. Bookmark the site. We'll get it popped up at you. 1:30. CC Legator Options Unchained.
Want to go to a good report?
Yes. No, I want to do that. Astera Labs. Astera Labs was a fantastic report. Give us the numbers here, Brentster. But this shows just how bad last night was. So give us those numbers on ALAB.
Astera Labs, really solid beat for the quarter, 49 cents versus 39-cent estimate. Sales, also a nice beat, 230 million versus about 206 million. The guidance was really strong, in my opinion, expecting Q4 earnings 50 to 51 cents. Analysts down at around 42. Pretty much a blowout quarter and pretty much some blowout guidance.
And the stock, as the news algos do, read that and buy. They bought this thing to almost 200. What did it hit, Joel?
200.
I think it
hit
hit 200.
200 on the kisser. Yep. One, don't buy at the big hole numbers when they're running 20 points into it. Two, I don't know what the expected move was, but it was probably in there as well. And then three is you're reporting on the worst possible day where they're hitting stocks on good reports. We were kind of seeing this. So you know what ends up happening? It starts to leak. And it starts to leak. And it starts to leak. And then it gives all of it back. But that's not enough. They start to really hammer this thing. And they bring it all the way down to, Joel, drum roll, please.
They took it under 160, taking it to 157.79.
Oh, my. OMG.
Wow.
It goes all the way up. Close at 180. Goes all the way up to 200. All the way down to basically 160. Was 20 points the expected move? Does anybody in the chat know the expected move? Because if it was, that's unbelievable that it hit the top of the band. Do you know, Brentster?
I don't know, but I think somebody last night I remember saying I think it was around 20. Chat will help.
Wow.
I think
okay, so if anybody can verify in the chat, I'm too lazy to go look it up.
26.
26?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joel's got it. So it didn't quite get there, but wow. Up 20, then get back to 20, then fall 20, now rally 20. If this doesn't tell you should be trading around those option positions, I don't know what does. Because if you're trading the stock against those options saying, hey, I got some calls, I'm going to short the stock against this. You make all that money on the short. Then you're like, you know what? I'm just going to like cover in here, and let the calls go up again. And you make the money that way too. Trading around your options positions. It's not a bad strategy, folks. I know a lot of people just like to hold the calls and the puts till the next morning and hope for the best. But if you trade around those options positions, sometimes you can extract some of this alpha from these crazy moves after hours, and that's what it was. 40-point range. It looks like a nothing burger here this morning. The option makers win in the end. But I tell you, last night they were biting their nails when these things were getting up towards the top and then down towards the bottom.
Well, it did exceed the expected range on the upside because we closed in 179. And no, maybe not. Yeah, 189, 199. Nope, just missed it. Just missed it on the top and missed it on the bottom too. Since that's not really coming into play yet, this chart sets up for me pretty easily. And the reason I say that is you know how I like my lows in the same area. Well, you got two lows. The low from yesterday at 179.31. You had the blow on Friday at 181. So what does that tell you? 180 is a number. And it's absolutely under 180. See some downside here. I see some downside. Coming on the upside, you're below the 50-day, and you've come off a stock, recently making an all-time high here. So the top of yesterday's range, 193.21. You did see that in the pre-market. I don't think you may not see that in the regular session, but just be aware that you broke the 50-day pretty significantly. You came back up to it, and it acted as resistance.
Other stocks reporting last night, we're just fly through them. Pinterest, it's down 17%. I told you last night was a tough night. Arista Networks is down 9.5%. We're just giving the highlights here as we fly through them. KTOS, which was a pretty okay report too, is down 8% here. Axon is one of your losers of the night, down 142 points, but it's only 20% because it's a $500. Well, it was a $700 stock. It's now a $562 stock. So it was a really, really bad night to report with the S&P's weak. And, the sentiment coming in was weak. And with Momo names getting hit yesterday, it was kind of a feeling like, hey, it was going to be a tough night to report. But with the rebound this morning, and this is just going to show and prove my point, is that macro picture can really dictate these earnings. So even when they have good earnings, if you report on a night where everybody's a little bit spooked, the stocks don't rally like they probably would on a neutral tape. Well, this morning, because we've rallied and got all those losses back, S&P's all the way back, a lot of other stocks, have come all the way back, the sentiment has kind of turned this morning. So now if you're reporting this morning, it's like, oh, we kind of like stocks again this morning. So they're starting to buy some of these names. So we have names like Unity trading up 17%. We have names like, just going into some of these other ones here, Lemonade, LMND, up 15%. None of that was happening last night. So it's interesting how sentiment dictates the direction for a lot of fundamental reports. That's my point.
And that's a good one. It's a good one.
Let's look to Unity first. We'll dig
Okay.
down into this report here because it's up $6. Maybe it should be up $6. Maybe the report was fantastic, or maybe it just, sentiment's a little bit more brighter this morning. S&P's just went green.
Unity with a big beat here. If this is comparable, I see an adjusted gain of 20 cents. It looks like analysts were looking for a 20-cent loss. Swing into a gain there, definitely a good thing. Sales also a nice beat, around 470 million. Analysts were looking around 450 million, and the guidance was solid, expecting Q4 sales 480 million to 490 million. Analysts down around 474 million for ticker U.
What a move here for Unity. 35, 40, now 40. Well, I hit over 43. It's peeled back off those highs, but it is a big move up here, Joel. Give us your best level, the number one level for Unity.
Where did it? All right.
Pressure's
so
on
it
now because he likes to give 3 levels.
No, I'll give you. You want one?
One number. One number
One
only.
number.
You can't handle one number.
Oh,
I
you
can.
think
I
you
can't
can't
handle 3.
handle one number? That one number is 43.
$43. That's going to be your resistance point here. I love the Elconin numbers. We're going to be starting a new segment called Level Up with Joel Elconin, where he's giving you the main levels for all these stocks here. That'll be on Stock Trader Network. So get over there. Moving on, other earnings, and there's a lot of them, like I said. Lemonade, want to talk just the earnings there and just quick. One level only for Lemonade, but we're going to let Brentster give us the earnings report first.
Lemonade reporting a loss of 51 cents per share, better than expected versus a 73-cent loss. Sales also beating 194 million. They raising their fiscal year 25 guidance rather substantially from a prior range 710 to 715 million, now up to around 730 million. Analysts are expecting down around under 715 million. The quarterly guidance for Q4 was also strong out of Lemonade.
No sour lemons here, Joel. It's all sweet lemonade here. One level.
Oh man,
one level only.
This is
Rule them all.
this is a tough one here.
Is it all-time highs?
Well, I did the weekly here.
Oh, no, monthly. Sorry. We forget about 2020 and 2021 where all rational thought left the market and they just bought stocks no matter what. This stock back in 2021 hit $188.30. It's trying to claw its way back, though. When you look at that long-term chart, it looks like this thing's just like formed the nice base here and just trying to climb back up.
We had that this discussion. Me and you have had it before about the levels from 2020 and 2021. Like, do they really mean anything on the charts? Right? Because
Do they?
I don't know, but the reason I mentioned it is because Mish mentioned it, and she said, "Yeah, you gotta." I don't know if she meant it like literally, like she wasn't using those levels
She
at
was
all.
saying,
But
I don't know if we can use those levels from 2020 and 2021 because they all just got stupid, with what was it, Upstart? Was it Upstart hitting like $400 a share?
yeah,
Crazy moves.
okay, this took a little work, but the level of the day for lemonade
Drum roll,
is 67.
$67. Why?
That is the top of the expected move.
See, there's a rational thought here. You're listening to that CC Ligator on Options Unchained. Gotta listen to that 1:30 show. Bunch of other stocks that reported here. Again, if you want something specific, let us know. I know MDT Trades has said Rivian. We can cover Rivian. It's one of your good moves from last night. There wasn't a lot of stocks that went up last night, but Rivian is one of them. I mean, this stock has the support of all supports. I mean, between the 10 and 12, the stock just always seems to get bought. And then it seems to go back up to 16, 17, 18, and then it's a sell. This is one of those like channelingstocks.com stocks. Is that still a website? The guy that retired, how did you do it so fast? Well, I buy low and sell high, the same stock again and again. Channelingstocks.com. That was like the main thing back in, I don't remember when that was, like 15 years ago. It might have been 20 years ago.
Office. It was
20 years ago, probably. It was back during the tech bubble and all the other stocks and channeling. It was probably in those years. That probably launched in those years from 2001 till like 2010 when the market just went sideways for like 8 or 9 years. So I was like, man, we can't get anywhere in investing. Channelingstocks.com. Buy low, sell high, the same stock again and again. That was a great commercial, by the way.
And then remember what Bright ran some commercials too.
They weren't that good. We needed some better actors in there. I needed something like a little bit of energy there. I just had the Bright Trading Office. It was on CNBC for a bit when we were expanding like crazy. It was kind of fun. We all cheer when our commercial comes on. Yeah. I never made it, so I was bitter towards it because I was never in the commercial.
Operators are standing by.
Rivian results solid. Beat. Adjusted loss 65 cents. Analysts were looking for a loss around 72 cents. So again, that is a better than expected loss. Sales, when I read this sales figure out in STN last night, I was like, really? Sales 1.6 billion, just under 1.6 billion. Yes, Rivian is selling over $1 billion of vehicles in a quarter, folks. The estimate there was for 1.5 billion for ticker RIVN.
I drove. Did I tell you I drove in a Rivian? I know I told you guys. I don't know if I told PreMarket Prep, but I was in my first Rivian there when I went to Vegas 2 weeks ago. And the power. Over 800 horsepower.
That's badass.
It was a lot of power. I wasn't overly impressed with I thought the inside would be fancier. Like I like the look of the truck. I do like the look of the truck.
Like the outside.
Buying, but you're in there. These electric vehicles are never that fancy inside. And then we didn't know how the hell to start it because it was the key. It was a hotel card. And
Rivian.
Like, where do you put this thing? It's supposed to start automatically when you go, but it was curious. But then it wasn't working, and they had to rub it on the door, and it was all weird. But anyways, I was impressed. I like the look of the car, and the power was I felt like you're almost like rocket ship technology in there. I guess it's all awesome when you get these electric vehicles. So overall, I'd say boots on the ground, pretty impressed with the Rivian truck.
It looks a hell of a lot better than that Cybertruck.
Oh, unbelievably better. There was one driving around here last week, and my wife's like, "What is that?" I'm like,
the Cybertruck?
I'm like, that's the Rivian. She's like, "Ooh, that's nice." I'm like, let's stay away from that one. It's really expensive.
Don't get any ideas, honey.
Yeah, you like your minivan.
Yeah, did you clean that thing up yet, Dennis?
The minivan's always clean. What are you talking about? My minivan not clean? Spotless.
No comment. But I mean, you got kids right in there,
They destroy things, Joel. You forget about your kids used to eat butter off the plates. Remember, just
No,
directly,
not off
like
the plate,
fingered 'em
out of the
out of the container.
container. Out of the
Yeah, so don't tell me about dirty cars. You just forget because they're grown up now. Dana and Emily aren't like, little kids anymore. My kids dropping crumbs everywhere, eating the kids. Let's get some
Okay.
mess.
All right. Do you want a great level or do you want a great level in Rivian?
A great level, a great one. Level up with Joel.
It's easy peasy here. Because you have one, you have two, you have three highs, just under 1360.
Ooh.
You haven't hit it yet in the pre-market. I think you get through that, and you're Rivian people. Well, I wouldn't blink too much at the 50-day, but that's a good level, man. Three highs in a row, hasn't hit it yet in the pre-market. Not sure what the expected move was, but if you're looking for the 14s in Rivian, you got to get through 1360 first.
Awesome. Okay. Tonight, Robinhood reports. Renewal earnings preview here. This will be the most anticipated report of the night. Yes, there's Qualcomm. Yes, there's App11. Yes, there's ARM Holdings and Snapchat and even IONQ. But I'm going to go on a limb and say Robinhood is likely to be the most important report of the night. The moves on Robinhood over the course of the last year are jaw-dropping. If we go back to the beginning of this year, Robinhood was a $38 stock. It is now a $140 stock, and it is not for lack of execution. Vlad kicking butt and taking names here. He has been for a while. Does that continue tonight? That is the question. Do we have the expected move for this one? If not, I'll go figure it out.
I am one step ahead of you, and this is
you're
gonna,
already there.
Yeah. The expected
Use
move
that grade 3
here
math.
is 13.
13 points.
Yeah.
So about 8, 9, 10%. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds about right.
Say the expected move one more time.
13.
Thank you, Joel.
Hobo says it's 11. Did you do the math wrong, Joel?
I'm looking at it closed at 136.80. So I'm looking well, I did the 136.
Just after calls and the puts.
I'm adding the calls and the puts, and it comes out to 12, 13, 640 and 655.
$12.13.
Okay.
Right.
That's more like 12.
No, 640 and 655. That is 6 plus 6 is 12.
Okay. Hobo says $10.57. Okay, so Joel's math and Hobo's math are not adding up, but that's okay.
Well, I'm looking
you just
at
added
my
it up for
market
there.
website. And I don't know if he's doing it from. I don't know what he's doing it from.
Okay. $12, $13. We'll take it. Sounds right.
Okay, and just for trading today, yesterday's high was 144.40. See if that comes into play. Closed kind of near the low, but you're trading up in the pre-market. So
what are your thoughts into this report?
What are my thoughts? Oh man,
gosh,
I think I kind of feel it might get Palantired.
We kind of Palantired AMD a little bit. We kind of Palantired Astera Labs a little bit. Are we going to be tired of Palantir? You know what I'm going to say? The macro tape matters, folks. Where we close today, because right now sentiment's turned. Oh, buy the dip is working. Markets, people are coming in here. Do the gains hold? Does the market close up? I mean, let's go to crypto here for a second. And if you want to use this time to throw up our high blockchain ad, it's probably not a bad time here, Brentster, because we're going to talk crypto just for a second. So will Brentster give his crypto a little pitch here. And then I just want to talk Bitcoin for one quick second.
All right. This show, folks, brought to you by Hive Digital Technologies, a global leader in green power data centers for Bitcoin mining, high performance computing, and AI, operating with nearly 0.5 gigawatt of renewable energy. Hive is on track to capture 3% of the world's Bitcoin production by the end of this year. I think they did a release maybe like a month and a half, 2 months ago that said they were at 2%. Scan the QR code in the bottom right corner, folks, if you want to learn more about Hive. There also is always a link in the description of this YouTube video. Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Hive.
Let's go to Bitcoin chart here. Use the BTC or whatever you want, because Joel Elconin has been calling for this. He said it was going under 100,000. and it was going to dip under 100,000, hit some stops, and then eventually rally back up. It's kind of what it did. Did it get under 100,000 officially?
Well,
Did we get there?
the spot got considerably under it.
The
I like to
spot did,
follow
but the futures didn't.
the futures did.
Well, futures did as well.
They got, well, listen to this in the futures, 99,250 yesterday, 99,285 today. So double bottom in Bitcoin.
Yep.
That's a good thing. So if you say, oh, I wanted to buy it at 100, well, you might have missed your opportunity here because you're trading it at 103,000. Let's see what it does with that red bar from yesterday. That was a big, nasty red bar. I don't think you're going to be able to get up to the 107,700 level. So we'll see. Maybe 105. If you're just trying to pick a number, the only reason I'm throwing out 105 here is because you had a low. That low was a little bit higher. Just a round number. Keep an eye on your pre-market high. Looks like even someone parceling out here that bought the dip at 103. So there's Bitcoin. You did the dip. Let's see if you're going to get a rip.
I like that call, Joel. It's the Gil Morales. Shout out to Gil, the undercut and rally. He's talked about this a lot of times where they get under a key level, trigger all the stops, gets back up over it, and those are sometimes some of the best longs. Now, again, it's got to hold it now. So if you're doing the undercut and rally trade and you're saying, okay, that was the dip, and you're buying it, where is it, 103 right now?
Yeah.
So if you're buying it at 103, you got to stop yourself out if the undercut doesn't work. So if it starts going 99, 98, then it's like, okay, it didn't work. But right now you're set up for that potential to be there. We're not saying that is going to happen. Nobody has a crystal ball. Trading is not about a crystal ball. Trading is all about probabilities. So, there is the possibilities as well. It's a possibility that I just put a double bottom under a key level there, and maybe it does go higher. I think the overall macro tape is going to dictate action here as well. So that was a segue because we were talking Robinhood, and obviously Robinhood trades very much off crypto as well. So crypto does well, Robinhood does well, but Robinhood's been holding up pretty well despite the recent Bitcoin sell-off. Mr. Brentster, we got something to celebrate today.
We absolutely
it's a celebrate good times. Come on. Little Cool in the Gang. Yeah, here we go. What's the celebration all about?
Should we let the chat guess?
Yes.
For you,
yeah.
Joel, on this
Joel has to do a
momentous day,
guessing game.
yes.
So yes,
Chat?
for Joel, because he's part of this celebration, we will allow a guessing game to the chat. What are we celebrating? What are we celebrating today on November 5th, 2025?
Remember, the 5th of November. Y'all can always remember that with that nice little rhyme. Mike says, new sponsor, all-time viewership. We're not, these are good guesses, folks.
They're
These are
good
guesses.
1 year of pre-market prep. Carmen, the winner.
Yep.
We want to thank all of our loyal fans over the last year. 1 year ago today, November 5th, 2024, was the first pre-market prep show as a singular entity on its own, left to work with the masses. Here we are today, folks. We made it a year. We've got a couple awesome accomplishments over the last year we want to highlight. We grew about 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. And that's nothing to scoff at. We just crossed last weekend 1 million views for the last year. That's kind of a cool little stat. That's kind of a cool little confluence there. We launched a premium product with the Stock Trader Network. We hired some of our first team members. This has been, a pretty exciting year, ladies and gentlemen, and we absolutely, with none other, couldn't have done it without everyone in the chat. We very much appreciate all the loyal fans, all the love. You guys are a great community to be hosting, and an even better one in Stock Trader Network. Sorry to say, folks. Oh my gosh.
We didn't know what to expect. Obviously when we parted ways with Ben Zinga a year ago, we're like, what are people gonna do? They said, obviously we talked about it. We were keeping the show, pre-market prep, and we don't know what's going to happen here. I'm like, are the fans going to follow us? They can be able to find us, because Ben Zinga obviously continued and launched a different show in that time slot. And then we're like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm hoping they're going to follow us. And I put out a tweet, and, you know, and that was pretty much it. I'm like, if you're looking for the show, here we are with the tweet. The one good thing, because we kept the show name, if you Google, you know, pre-market prep, you would find our channel. So that helped as well. So unbelievably, you know, our last show, I believe, on Benzinga had, you know, roughly 4,500 views, I think, on YouTube. You know, we're on Twitter, we're on some other places too, but it's YouTube. Then unbelievably, this show, the first show that we aired on a new channel, ended up having almost 4,000 views. So we got most of our fan base followed us. So we really want to thank everyone here in this chat for following us, because it's not us that makes the show, it's you that makes the show. You guys are the show. We get, you know, you have such good content that comes from pre-market prep chat. You know, the fans that have been there for a long time, and you know who you guys are. You've been here for so long. You know, we can call some of them out here, but I mean, there's just been so many, you know, people who have followed us for a long time. I believe it is, I think we're almost 12 years of doing pre-market prep. We did it over 10 years with Benzinga. The first year on our own was really bad, Joel. But we know once we went with Benzinga, then we started to get an audience, and we started to actually like produce, and it started to look a little bit better. That Uvu stuff we started off
that
the bat was
Ubu?
not good. Yeah, that was not good. Little talking bubble heads. We didn't have any
Yeah.
visual or anything component. It was just awful. But I want to thank everyone in the chat here. Thanks so much for being with us and joining us. We want to continue to develop and continue to give you more content. We're going to be doing that as well. Also want to thank the Brentster for coming in with us here, you know, working with us full time here now. Obviously, Josh Walter, who works in the background here, keeping this show running every single day. He's, you know, working the emails with the guests. You know, if technical difficulties happen, he's the first guy on the scene. So he's been fantastic too. Money Mitch is over with us now. Want to thank him as well for coming over, helping us out. You know, and then we've got other traders over in the STN room like Trader Prad and stuff. So we continue to hire more people. We're trying to grow this network, trying to be something special here. We're going to continue to grow for you.
Wow, gosh, super stickers coming here. $50 coming in from Christian Rivas. Thank you very much. Another $10 coming in from good old Carmen. So, you know, looking forward 2026, right? And you know, we've beefed up the staff, and we're doing that as fast as we can. I mean, we have goals, folks, and we have goals to provide more content. Of course, you know, the content in the STN room, and then, you know, more content on our YouTube channel here, Pre-Market Prep. And we just, you know, not only is the chat made us, but it's the guests that we've had over the years too, and different viewpoints. Maybe everyone doesn't necessarily agree with Cow Guy, or everyone doesn't necessarily agree with Todd Gordon. But we try and bring, you know, long-term investing, short-term investing, some options education, and then just kind of like our gut feel of, you know, for the years of being in the markets. If you think about it, you know, going through COVID, I know a lot of people were stuck at home and couldn't go to work, and you know, that really helped us out. I remember walking through some of those limit down opens with Anne Marie. I think I want to give a shout out to Jason Rasnick, who, you know, gave us suggestions, you know, over the years, and
Believed in us.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason was there. Obviously, Jason's, you know, his involvement with Benzinga after he sold the company, and he called us the next day when Benzinga let us go, and, you know, was basically saying it's nothing to do with it. All the respect for Luke Jacoby, Jason, you know, all our friends there. It was nothing to do. None of them had anything to do with letting us go. So, yeah, we want to give them a shout out there too. Another super sticker. Thank you so much, Alexio. We appreciate it. Obviously, you know, we're running a free show. We do have sponsors now, though. We have 2 sponsors now, which is fantastic. Obviously, our good friend Frank Holmes, Hive Blockchain, has helped us out huge. And then now we have TradeStation that's just started this month with us, going to be sponsoring the show as well. We'll get some graphics for you guys here happening soon. They're getting approved and stuff, but TradeStation officially started sponsoring the show this month here. So we do have some, you know, and with that money, we do intend to continue to develop new content, not only in Stock Trader Network in the room, but also on the main channel as well. Like we said, we just launched our second show, our second free show, which is Options Unchained, which airs every Wednesday with CC Liquidator. But we're looking to launch more content. So goals for 2026, just to keep you guys informed, is to have more free content for pre-market prep, but also more content in our paid chat room where, Stock Trader Network, where we're getting more traders in there, more. It's a think tank is what Stock Trader Network really is. We say it's a chat room, but it's really a think tank. I'm like thinking out loud. We're trying to come up, what does this mean? We're seeing new movements here. What does this mean for the overall market? Where are the strategies? Where are the ideas? We're really like a think tank over there. That's what the Stock Trader Network really is. It's a private chat room. It's like we're all thinking out loud, trying to come up with different ideas. And we're bringing more traders in there too. But we also, respect that a lot of people, can't afford, to pay for content there. So we want to continue to bring you more free content as well. And that's what we just launched with Options Unchained.
And I think I just got to give a special shout out. I think things took a more organizational turn when we brought Brent on. Running that Benzinga Pro news desk for all those years. I don't think it's gonna take a while if you're new to trading or new to investing and stuff. But we give knowledge, but the knowledge that Brent gives from you is from the news flow, which is something very difficult to do, because if you'll notice when he's analyzing the news, it's like, oh, is it really that good of news what they came out and said? It's great, they're rallying the stock. But like he has his little tricks of like, is it material to earnings? Is it, what's the impact? This is fluff. This isn't fluff. Also, I don't know when these earnings reports come out, how you can just go to a press release and like find the numbers, one after another. So we try and bring you the news aspect. We try and bring, technical analysis, we try and keep that on the level. Fundamental, information. We do our best with that, looking at the macro. And then Dennis's incredible feel for the market and, owning up to, when he's wrong and what he did when he when he has a bad day or something. So we're gonna get to 100,000 subscribers in 2026.
Oh, Joel.
That's a lofty goal, but
yeah.
We are going to
like
eventually do some marketing too. We have spent $0 on marketing, so we need to eventually market the show. It's all by word of mouth here right now, but we do intend to actually drop some dollars on marketing here in 2026 as well. So we're figuring that out as we go too. So trying to run a real business here. This is like difficult.
It's kind of hard
compared to running.
It's kind of hard, man. I know.
Adrenaline, thanks for the 20. We appreciate everybody with the super stickers here. We appreciate all you listeners. I mean, it's been fantastic working with everyone here. AMC Pacer, thank you very much.
Holy
let's just keep this going here. You guys, we'll give you another stock.
Let's go our 13th month anniversary. Also, just a quick, Money Mitch has been helping us out over from Benzinga. So, we brought some people over there, and you know what? If one of two things happen in 2026, I'm going to retire. And you know what those two things are? We get 100,000 subscribers.
You're going to retire if we get 100,000? Don't do that. We need you if we get 100,000 subscribers.
Joel, we need you. You're like
don't tell me to retire. They're not going to subscribe. I don't want to lose you.
Or what do you think? I know you hate quizzes, but what do you think the other thing is? If I could get someone on the show, if I could prove to you guys,
Warren Buffett,
Lisa Sue.
Oh, Lisa Sue.
That's Joel's last show. He gets Lisa Sue on next.
And he's going to ask her the question that everybody's, did I trade with you in the S&P pit? That's what he's going to ask. And she's going to say yes. And he's going to be so vindicated. It'll be like, that's his swan song right there. It's over. Hang it up. Lisa Sue, I told you guys made fun of me. You said it was my dementia again, and it's not.
Yep, wow. I'll do it, and then I'll take down the banners, and I don't know.
He's never retiring.
I don't know what I do.
Joel's not allowed to retire.
I don't know what I do. I don't know.
I'll figure it out. You'd be bored if you retired.
Okay.
This is like me. We're never retiring. We're here forever. Holy cow. Mattis, another 50. Love the show. Morning ritual. This is
That's
a good
awesome.
morning ritual.
This is
Like we said, we should keep
crazy.
it going. We'll keep it going for you guys. Super stickers. It just stays right here. We keep
You
going.
know what? Another thing too. I
That's
just
all. Keep the
yeah,
super stickers
no.
going.
It's just that I've been because I've introduced it to different people and different terms of investors and I got my one buddy who I mentioned. He's a longer term investor and he's the one that got the IPO stock and
Okay.
and I get the getting out of the bullish and everything. So he texted me he's been listening quite a bit. He texted me the other day. He goes, "What's a handle?" And I'm like, well, do you want the short answer or the long answer?
It's a
And
pretty
I
short
said,
answer.
I'll give you the short. A handle is 1 point in the S&P 500 index. And he's like, oh, okay.
It's
And
the
then he
digits
texted me, he
ahead
goes,
of the decimal. I
yeah.
always say.
And then, ahead of the
Front of the
decimal. And then he said, oh, I guess I'm ready for the Series 7 now.
Boom. Boom. Drop mic.
All right, you guys send your suggestions in for the new year. Info at stocktradernetwork.com. We'll take those into considerations. We know what guests you like, what you don't like, and just want to hear more from you. But thank you. It's 1 year since
Thanks,
the
everyone.
election.
Thanks, Merton.
It was
Thanks, everybody.
election day. It was election day last year that we did this show. So glad to be here.
Fun.
All right, folks, we're gonna move it over to Stock Trader Network, and here's to the next year in pre-market prep, folks. Thanks for joining today.